But yeah, tweet out the link, Gavin, as soon as it's live. Yeah.
Okay, I could go. You hear that? Can you hear that background noise, Millie?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else can hear us
This
too.
is Millie Weaver, and we are going to be talking about huge news. President Trump just announced a massive new counter narcotics operation, and this is going to be huge. We are going to see massive movements happening right now. President Trump has already announced deploying destroyers and aircraft assets surrounding Venezuela to make sure that these cartels cannot continue to traffic drugs to the US while we're having this pandemic situation go on. There's a lot of backstory here, and we are going to be delving into that. And we are also going to be joined by Tori from Red State Radio. And this is going to be one of the most pivotal, important reports we do right now, because everything we've been talking about in our videos is leading up to this moment where finally we're going to see some pushback from the Trump administration against the deep state. So you might wonder, how is this going to be pushing back against the deep state if we're talking about a war on cartels? Well, how does the deep state get their money? The cartels. So essentially, President Trump is waging war on the deep state by going after their money supply, which is the cartels. So before we go into this, let's go to a video clip of President Trump today at the press conference talking about this.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. So, America continues to wage all-out war to defeat the virus, this horrible, horrible virus. You see how terrible it is, especially when you look at the numbers from yesterday. And we explained why we're extending our nationwide guidelines to slow the spread for 30 days. Together, we have the power to save countless lives. We're attacking the virus on every front with social distancing, economic support for our workers, rapid medical intervention, and very serious innovation, and banning dangerous foreign travel that threatens the health of our people. And we did that early, far earlier than anyone would have thought, and way ahead of anybody else. In this time of need, I know that every American will do their patriotic duty and help us to achieve a total victory. As governments and nations focus on the coronavirus, there's a growing threat that cartels, criminals, terrorists, and other malign actors will try to exploit the situation for their own gain, and we must not let that happen. We will never let that happen. Today, the United States is launching enhanced counter-narcotics operations in the Western Hemisphere to protect the American people from the deadly scourge of illegal narcotics. We must not let the drug cartels exploit the pandemic to threaten American lives. In cooperation with the 22 partner nations, U.S. Southern Command will increase surveillance, disruption, and seizures of drug shipments and provide additional support for eradication efforts, which are going on right now at a record pace. We're deploying additional Navy destroyers, combat ships, aircraft and helicopters, Coast Guard cutters, and Air Force surveillance aircraft, doubling our capabilities in the region. Very importantly, our forces are fully equipped with personnel, protective equipment, and we've taken additional safety measures to ensure our troops remain healthy. Secretary Mark Esper, Attorney General Bill Barr, National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien will provide more details. In addition, I'm going to have General Milley, who's done an incredible job in so many ways, say a few words. And also with us, our Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral Gilday, who you know, I think you know, and Commandant of the Coast Guard, Admiral Schultz. So I'm going to ask Mark to start, and then we can go. And after that, we're going to take questions as it pertains to this, and then we'll go on to phase 2, which is the virus itself. Okay? Thank you. Please, Mark.
Well, thank you, Mr. President, and good afternoon, everyone. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today as we make this very important announcement. At a time when the nation and the Department of Defense are focused on protecting the American people from the spread of the coronavirus, we also remain vigilant to the many other threats our country faces. Today, at the President's direction, the Department of Defense, in close cooperation with our interagency partners, began enhanced counter-narcotics operations in the Eastern Pacific Ocean and the Caribbean Sea. This initiative is part of the administration's whole-of-government approach to combating the flow of illicit drugs into the United States and protecting the American people from their scourge. I want to thank all of our partners in this effort, to include the United States Coast Guard, the Department of Homeland Security, the Drug Enforcement Agency, the Department of Justice, and members of the intelligence community for their tremendous support and cooperation. To conduct these enhanced operations, the President has directed the deployment of additional ships, aircraft, and security forces to the United States Southern Command area of responsibility. Included in this force package are Navy destroyers and littoral combat ships, Coast Guard cutters, P-8 patrol aircraft, and elements of an Army Security Force Assistance Brigade. These additional forces will nearly double our capacity to conduct counter-narcotics operations in the region. Additionally, 22 partner nations have joined us in this fight, bringing with them a variety of intelligence and operations capabilities needed to defeat these criminal organizations. Last year alone, United States Southern Command's operations resulted in the seizure of over 280 metric tons of drugs, much of which was designated for shipment to America. While this was an incredible achievement, there is much more work to be done. Transnational criminal organizations continue to threaten our security by smuggling cocaine, fentanyl, methamphetamines, and other narcotics across our borders. These drug traffickers put our communities at risk and destroy lives. Every year, tens of thousands of Americans die from drug overdose, and thousands more suffer the harmful effects of addiction. Furthermore, corrupt actors like the illegitimate Maduro regime in Venezuela rely on the profits derived from the sale of narcotics to maintain their oppressive hold on power. The Venezuelan people continue to suffer tremendously due to Maduro's criminal control over the country. Drug traffickers are seizing on this lawlessness by increasing their illicit activities. We must do more to prevent these drugs from arriving at our shores. These enhanced counter-narcotics operations that are now underway will further disrupt the flow of illicit drugs to America, deny our adversaries the financial resources they depend on, and build the capacity of our partner nations throughout the region.
But
I want to thank President Trump for his leadership and support to this critical mission. This is particularly important time for this operation to begin, as nations around the world shift their focus inward to deal with the coronavirus.
Wow, I mean, this is huge news, guys. President Trump and his administration just waged war on the cartels. Okay, that is the deep state's money supply right there. So, you know, hey, deep state, say goodbye to your money supply, because snip, that's going to be gone. You guys, there's much more going on beneath the surface than just COVID-19. There's much more, but we're having some technical difficulties right now, guys. If you're still on the air, bear with us right now while we try to figure this out. My producer just said we got cut off of YouTube.
Yeah, you're on live. I can see you guys.
Okay, it looks like we're having technical difficulties right now with YouTube. YouTube is trying to say that we're not live right now, but I'm seeing that we're live. So we're going to continue on here. It's fun to have to deal with YouTube, guys. But there you heard it. President Trump's administration just waged war on the cartels. What is the significance of the timing right here? I mean, this isn't just some random, okay, let's just randomly declare war on the drug cartels right now in the middle of a martial law type scenario or a state of emergency scenario with this whole pandemic going on. As Tori and I have been saying for a very long time now, there's much more beneath the surface. So Tori, what's your take on what's going on right now? What do you think the significance is of Trump announcing this right now?
Hey, Millie. Hey, everybody. So today it was kind of awesome. See, didn't it feel when you watched the president like you were sitting in the Situation Room? Like they were all in there and they were briefing the nation, which, by the way, CNN decided not to cover. But anyway, this tells you exactly why he's riding the wave of this infodemic. I mean, these cartels, they come out with machetes, machine guns. They don't care who they take out. They're going to take them out. With no schools, no concerts, no restaurants, no one out. It's going to be really difficult to, take out a lot of people at once. And this is how you pop everything that's been hiding under seal for a long time. And this is it. It's going down, and they declared war. The question is, though, why have we not still designated them officially at this point as a foreign terrorist organization, since they function just like ISIS and Hamas? And why did it take so long? Why did we have to wait for President Trump to do this when it should have been done a long, long time ago? That's the question.
Exactly. That's a great point, Tori, because I've been thinking that for so long as well. And when I heard them finally wage war on the cartels, I'm like, Eureka, finally. Like, finally. And I'm sure every American has been frustrated and is sitting there wondering why we haven't waged war on the cartels before. But, you see, there is a slight problem. Well, when there's a faction of corrupt government that are working with the cartel and intelligence agencies working with the cartel to essentially get money from the black market for their own secret projects and for their own cush lifestyles, that becomes a bit of an issue, right? I mean, what do you think about that, Tori? You know a lot about the Clinton Foundation and the cartels, don't you, Tori?
Yes, I mean, we can look back to when our former director of the FBI was sitting on the board of none other than the Cartel Bank. If you remember, Comey was on the board of HSBC. That back then, the Clintons didn't want to get rid of the cartels. I wonder why, because they're a cartel themselves, the Clinton cartel, the Bush cartel. Damn those Timberwolves, It is all coming down now, and it's all coming to the crunch. The only way that you can disable nations that are against you, right, is you sanction them. What better way than to cut the money? No gravy, no trafficking. So we have two ships, Comfort and Mercy, parked right by cities that have the heaviest amount of cartel activity, the most human trafficking, child and human trafficking. This is how you swoop in and save the innocent ones as much as you can while you take them all down. And this is genius. General Milley said, "You dare come, we will use the full force of the United States military." That means whoever's in here and is trapped, Sinaloa and friends, we got you. And you're not leaving, and planes can't move. There's no state transfers. We're all on lockdown for Kung Flu. So here we go.
Exactly. It makes sense, though, Tori. You would take advantage of this situation here because while everyone's locked down, they're safer, essentially, from cartels making any type of attacks and retaliation, going and shooting people or shooting schools or shooting up communities. It seems like people are safer right now, and it makes travel harder. The borders are more secure. Everything's like there's checkpoints. I mean, it's going to be really hard for the cartel to move around, and even if they wanted to go back to Mexico, that's going to be a feat for them to have to overcome when we're having the National Guard out and about. I mean, this is the perfect time right now for Trump and his administration to do this, and I'm just ecstatic about it. What about you, Tori?
I'm really excited. We're finally going to see all of these indictments. Like every day I check for certain states on Pacer, because this isn't some made-up number of sealed indictments. Every single one of you out there, no matter what state you live in, get onto your site for your courts and look at under your magistrates. You will see insane amounts of sealed indictments. All of them can pop at once. All of them. And this is the opportune time when people are not traveling, when people are in their homes, when we don't have children in vulnerable places like soccer fields, restaurants, malls. Even think of the tornado. The tornado that hit just a couple days ago. Imagine if that had happened with no lockdown. Do you know how many people would have had their lives taken away because it's a busy mall area and everything? All of this is happening just as it was intended. You cut their money, the rats run loose, you lock them in. They're boxed in, they can't go anywhere, and they have no money. And this is why you see the panic that is being pushed. Now they're saying, oh, he didn't do much for the coronavirus. Oh, maybe we don't need to. Yes, we do. And this is where it's at. We had a full-blown Situation Room briefing today that was incredible. Like, all I could see, I was smiling. I couldn't help myself. I saw Billy, and I'm like, God, one day may I be blessed to sit there and hear him talk about his grandchildren. Because imagine how much that man has sacrificed. And speaking of Honduras, where we saved a young lady that was going through torture, right? You do know that just, a few months ago, we had a Honduran, kingpin testify and say how, Honduras is being ruled by a U.S.-led drug cartel. This is like legit stuff. Said it in court. How he was paying the Honduran president $500,000 to $600,000, back in 2009, so he can launder money in because he's drug trafficking. Like, we have him. He's in our possession, and this is it. And that happened just earlier last year. It was October of 2019 when this was talked about, how the former boss of the Honduras Los Cachitos cartel testified that he paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to the current and former presidents of Honduras in exchange to not be deported to the United States. So
wow, that's really interesting, Tori. And I was also reading an article today that talked about Mexico blocking alleged Sinaloa cartel bank accounts and cutting those off. And Trump did mention in the press conference that he was going to be working with the Mexican government and military to go after some of these cartels, because we know that a lot of times through these caravans, they'll come through Mexico first. But it's interesting because there are Mexican cartels as well. It's not just Venezuela. Some of these accounts that they blocked essentially had over $60 million in them. And one of the companies, a jewelry firm, funneled money through a company in Delaware. So this links back to the U.S. We've seen time and time again how these cartels are used by U.S. business people, U.S. intelligence agents, and U.S. government officials to essentially generate revenue, generate money for their illegal activities. Let's talk, Tori, let's talk more about Barry Seal. I really want to get into Barry Seal and the fact that we had the government helping cocaine run and be sold in other countries, essentially allowing for... Sorry, what do you need, Gavin? Okay. Sure. My producer's interrupting me right now. All right, so apparently we're going to have to restart this broadcast. YouTube is just giving us way too many technical difficulties right now. The screen's freezing up for the producer. Everything's going bad with YouTube right now. So we're going to go ahead and stop this broadcast, see if we can try it again. Hopefully YouTube won't try to interfere with our streams this next time around, but we're going to try to restart this broadcast. So stay tuned, guys. We'll be right back up live very shortly.
I can see it just fine on YouTube. So we're going to talk about William Barr, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Okay, let's do this then. That sounds like a plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
I definitely want to get into William Barr
and
his past and
right.
and whether or not he's actually going to be repentant of his bad ways or not.
Is he the Godfather or not? I mean, someone here wants to know. I don't know. It's never too late to fix what you've done wrong, right?
Yeah. It's never too late to join the right side.
Well, he was the Bush's right-hand man under the Reagan administration. So this is where it needs to go. This is what we need.
And there's swamp on both the right and the left. Mm-hmm. So that's key, because sometimes people think the swamp's just with the Democrats when nope, you've got swamp on both sides. And I mean, I really want to get into some of the old school dynasties, deep state dynasties. Hey, that's a good name. We'll call them deep state dynasties.
Yeah, but I can't talk about my visit to Panama because I can't talk about that yet.
Okay, hold on, Tori. Don't say that.
Oh.
Don't say that. Apparently, we're still live.
Are you kidding?
He can't turn it off. I don't know what's going on. All right, guys, we're not going to be restarting the broadcast, I guess, because the producer can't turn the feed off right now.
That's good.
That's fine. It looks like we are live. Looks like you guys can hear us. So we're just going to continue on here.
Yeah, and it's April Fool's. I never met Noriega. Never went to Panama. April Fool's, guys. April Fool's.
This whole broadcast, the stream, the mess ups, Tori saying that, it was all just a major April Fool's joke.
Oh my gosh.
April Fool's.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the whole about Panama was it.
Okay, so we did touch on BCCI and James Comey.
Okay.
We did touch on that, but I want to kind of go into that more, Tori, because you guys need to realize James Comey, the deep state swamp creature in the FBI, was also sitting on the board at the bank with BCCI that was essentially getting all the money that all the drug cartels would get and essentially put into their bank accounts at that bank. I mean, gee, that's not a conflict, right, Tori? That's not a conflict to have the FBI also on the board of this bank that's getting all this drug cartel money.
Of course, and here's the funny thing. So this is where the hilariousness comes in. Comey is becoming, this FBI director. His history, though, says he shouldn't be FBI director. Because what people don't know is that he was part of HSBC, the International Drug and Terrorism Money Laundering Clearing. Okay? Okay. Okay, I guess they still want us on air.
Yeah, okay, so the computer that's running the broadcast right now, this iPad usually runs the broadcast, and apparently, it's still running it, yet how is it even, it's not even connected. Like,
yeah.
Where's the stream? Where's the stream? How are we even on the internet right now, Tori? This is really weird.
I have no idea, but, I guess someone really wants us to talk. I did say that I would invade the feed. Maybe my alter ego AI, kind of got in there and did this. But look, what people need to know, just listen to this, guys, and some of you might not even know this, is that HSBC was busted. They were legit busted and said, oops, sorry, for money laundering.